Hello everybody, welcome back, and if you are new here, welcome. Thank you for stopping by, and please consider subscribing. Be sure to click that bell notification to get my latest videos. Okay, so today I'm super excited about this. This is probably one of the videos that I've been most excited to do for quite some time. I am going to try to be a cool mom and recreate recipes from a video game that my son loves to play. He was recently gifted the game Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We have been playing it any chance we get to do a family activity, and it's really fun. So I decided I'm going to recreate some food items from the video game, and my son is going to taste test them over on his YouTube channel. So if you are interested in kid-friendly, family-friendly content, we do a lot of stuff over there on his channel. Go check us out. I will leave the link below this video and at the end. But anyways, I'm going to recreate some recipes inspired by this video game for my kid. I'm super excited, and I'm going to try to keep it as close as possible to the ingredients that he uses in the video game. One of them is goat milk butter, which was very hard to find, but I did find it. Anyways, I'm going to get started with these recipes. Here we go. For the first recipe, I am going to make a simple meat skewer. In the video game, to make a meat skewer, you basically would cook raw meat, but today I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it with some butter. Here I'll be using 1 ribeye steak. I didn't even weigh it. This is a very simple recipe. I'm also going to use some goat butter, and if you can't find goat butter, which I had a hard time finding, just use regular butter. And I'm going to season it basically with salt. And here I purchased a big chunk of rock salt, which looks very similar to the video game, but I'll technically be using sea salt. So what I did was cut my ribeye steak into large chunks. These are 1 to 2 inch piece cubes of ribeye steak, and I'm going to place them on my pre-soaked meat skewers. I basically soak them in cold water for 15 minutes. And once I have all of my skewers made, they're pretty much ready to cook. And again, I am going to season them just with salt and use some melted goat butter to basically cook them on the stovetop in this grill pan. And I'm probably going to use somewhere between 2 to 3 tablespoons for these skewers. Again, I'm not giving you exact measurements because these are very basic and simple recipes. I'm going to cook my meat skewers until they are around medium well in doneness. You definitely can cook your steak to your desired doneness, but my kid doesn't like to see pink in the center, so I'll try my best to cook them medium well to well. Once my steaks are done, I will finish them with a little bit more of that melted goat butter and finish them with some of the sea salt, and I'm going to set these aside to rest and just keep them covered until I'm ready for him to try them. Next, I'm going to make mushroom rice balls. And here is what they look like in the video game. Basically, they are a triangular shaped rice ball, and it looks like rice and mushrooms mixed together. So that's what I'm doing. I'll be using salt, 1 pint of Cremini mushrooms, and cooked short grain rice. I'm going to use somewhere between 2 to 3 cups of cooked rice that I'm making in my rice cooker. So in a skillet, I've melted 2 tablespoons of goat butter, and I've added my chopped Cremini mushrooms. I'm going to saute them just like this. It took around 5 to 6 minutes on a medium-high heat, and once they are sauteed and cooked, they are ready to be added to my cooked rice. The only seasoning that I'm going to add to the rice is salt. I'll also be brushing the plate that I'm going to serve them on and the mold with sesame oil. So other than the salt and sesame oil, That's virtually what I'm seasoning it with. And I wanted to show you in the video game, basically Link uses an assortment of mushrooms or just one type of mushroom, Hylian rice, and rock salt. And you'll see that rock salt looks just like the one I purchased. Okay, so I'm just going to mix the sauteed mushrooms, salt, and rice all together. And once that is combined, I am going to press them in a triangular shaped rice ball mold just like this. And I've actually brushed it with sesame oil so they slide out a lot easier. And once I've filled each mold with rice, I'm going to give it a good press and they are done. And again, if you do not have this rice mold, you can just form rice balls with your hands. I do that all the time. Just make sure if you're doing it with your hands or your gloved hands, make sure you add sesame oil to the gloved hands or even wet your hands because the rice is sticky. Okay, so my rice balls are done and they look really close to the one in the video game. Moving on to the baked apples. Now this recipe is not really following what you do in the game, but it's a baked apple. So I've cut the tops, I'm going to remove the core, and they basically look just like this. You'll want to keep the tops to make sure you can cover it later. So all I'm going to do is take maybe a tablespoon of goat butter, stuff it in the center, and I'm going to pour sugar on it. And for the sugar, I'm adding a half cup of sugar, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a quarter teaspoon of salt. I'm going to give that a good mix, and that is basically what I'm going to use for these baked apples and for my mighty fried bananas that I'll be doing later. So at this point, I am going to stuff my apples with the goat butter. Again, you can use regular butter, and I'm going to add 2 to 3 teaspoons of this sugar mixture right in the center and on top. And you probably could add the sugar first, then the butter. It's up to you. These recipes are just very forgiving, and it's up to your preference on how much sweetness you want in these baked apples. So I've placed my apples in an 8x8 baking dish, and now I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of water to the bottom just so there's no burning of the sugar or the natural sugars in the apple as it bakes. And I will be baking this uncovered, just like this, in a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 hour or until the baked apples are baked, juicy, and tender. Next, I'm moving on to mighty fried bananas. And here is what the video game shows as the recipe for the mighty fried bananas. But what I'm going to do is basically dredge cut bananas in around 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. And once I'm done dredging the bananas, I am going to fry them in around 3 tablespoons of the melted goat butter in a preheated nonstick pan. Once my bananas are golden brown on each side, I'm going to add 2 to 3 teaspoons of that sugar cinnamon mixture. I'm going to toss them around in the pan for around 30 to 45 seconds, remove them, and serve. Okay, my mighty fried bananas are done, and here are the end results for all of my Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild food recipes. Okay, so the food is ready. I have it set up over there. I'm just so excited for him to try these recipes. By the way, I didn't show you this earlier, but I have my Legends of Zelda t-shirt on. I thought this was kind of a neat t-shirt tied to this game. But anyways, so I hope you guys consider subscribing. I have a lot of content already on my channel. Go check that out. And for those of you that are already subscribed, thank you. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. So now I gotta go get things ready so they can taste this food. And I hope you join me. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.